story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
It's a beautiful Saturday morning here in Lagos. Good morning to you and thank you for joining us on CoreTV News this hour. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Following the protracted violence rocking Ekiti State during the week and the killing of the former NURTW boss Omolafe Adere Thursday night, the government has imposed a dusk to dawn curfew in the state. This was announced by Governor Kayode Fayemi in a statewide broadcast in Ado-Ekiti, the state capital. Rashid has details.
The atmosphere in Ekiti State is tense as a result of the recent crisis rocking the state. Youth alleged to be political thugs have invaded courts twice and destroyed court property and obstructed proceedings. A former boss of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Omolafe Adere, was also killed. He is believed to be a close associate of a top politician in the state. Addressing the state in a broadcast, Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi condemned the attack on the judiciary and directed the Attorney General to liaise with the State Chief Judge of the possibility of transferring all cases out of the state.
It is understandable that not a few stakeholders have expressed concern about what the development portends for Ekiti State. The brazen contempt of our hallowed law courts and the use of violence and intimidation to obstruct the course of justice is a clear invitation to anarchy and brigandage on the scale and texture that once characterized Ekiti State some years ago. Ekiti, are those years upon us again?
He further cautioned politicians to control their followers and supporters so as to avoid chaos.
The course of justice can only be delayed, but never truncated. The independence of the judiciary is an inviolable tenet of any democracy. Accordingly, I have this morning directed the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in the state to issue a legal advisory to the Chief Judge of the state and all the parties to the existing cases in the State High Court and the Ekiti State Governorship Elections Petitions Tribunal on the desirability of seeking an alternative venue for the hearing of these cases outside Ekiti State. The state can no longer afford to witness the bizarre spectacle of the beating up of a judicial officer and wanton intimidation of lawyers and court personnel.
The governor thus imposed a dusk to dawn curfew on the state.
Ekiti, in order to forestall further descent into anarchy in our state, I think all hands must now be on deck. And as the Chief Security Officer of the state, I have suspended my thank you tour, which I'm undertaking as part of my transitioning out formalities in the state. Also, I have taken the decision to institute a dusk to dawn curfew in the state immediately. Accordingly, there will be no movement between the hours of 7 p.m. and 7 a.m., and security agencies have been advised to effect this curfew maximally.
The rise in violence is coming just days before the transfer of power to the next government in the state. It is hoped that the curfew will help curb the violence. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
While following the murder of Omolafe Adere, ex-boss of the Ekiti branch of National Union of Road Transport Workers and a close ally of the governor-elect Ayo Fayose on Thursday night, the city of Ado-Ekiti was a shadow of itself for the better part of Friday as all public and private institutions were shut down, leaving business activities paralyzed. Obviously, the reason for this was the fear of attacks which actually took place before the intervention of security agencies. Rashid went around town to assess the level of damage, and the police resolved to bring the perpetrators to book.
Since the death of Omalafia Adiriye filtered into town late Thursday, fear of the unknown has gripped residents of Ado-Ekiti as all government and corporate institutions shut down for business. Commercial activities were also paralyzed for the day. The fear of the people against possible attack on lives and property made most of them stay indoor. A drive round Ado Metropolis reveals serious damages to property, among them the campaign headquarters of Governor Kayode Fayemi and that of the APC. Joseph Olabiwonu, leader of the Road Transport Employers and perceived staunch supporter of Fayemi, was not spared in the arson that saw his house and fleet of cars razed. An easy calm best describes the mood at the home of the deceased as tears flow freely from sympathizers and relatives. In all, property worth millions of nairas have been lost to the attacks which turned Ado-Ekiti into a ghost town, but for the intervention of security agents, the situation could have been worse. The Commissioner of Police, Taiwo Lakan, vows to bring the killers of Aderiye and those who took part in the destruction of property to book as he backs the governor's declaration of curfew.
The curfew is extremely necessary. It will lessen our burden. We've been out since morning. And of course, the curfew means you are supposed to stay in your houses, your individual houses. If you are found on the street, you have to set to blame. We've made a sizable number of arrests because some people were actually caught right on the scene, burning houses. Some were seen, trying to picket roads. Some were seen burning tires. We have ample facts against them, and investigation is ongoing.
The last may not have been heard on the gruesome development, even as the dusk to dawn curfew takes effect and normalcy returns to the streets. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
And on a related issue, the People's Democratic Party in Ekiti State has condemned the murder of a former chairman of the state chapter of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Omalafia Adiriye, by unarmed gunmen. The State Publicity Secretary of the party, Kola Olawole, in a statement in Ado-Ekiti, described the killing as an act of wickedness, barbaric and satanic. According to him, the murder could not be separated from the clandestine activities of the All Progressives Congress government, which has vowed to make the state ungovernable for the incoming administration of the PDP. The party called on the Inspector General of Police and all relevant security agencies to bring to book the perpetrators of this act so that those who want to create a chaotic situation that will negatively affect the swearing-in of the governor-elect will not have their way. It also implored the State Commissioner of Police to provide adequate security for the governor-elect and all the PDP leaders who it claimed have been marked for elimination. Meanwhile, reactions have started to trail the development in Ekiti, where the state government has imposed a dusk-to-dawn curfew to checkmate recurrent violence by hoodlums. A guest analyst on our flagship program, Call Digest, Lekon Alabi, in his contributions, lambasts the police for turning a blind eye to the issue. Alabi, who is a Lagos-based lawyer, warns that the role played by an organization like the police, which is saddled with the enforcement of order, could spell doom, especially in an election year, if not checked.
How many people have they arrested? Which means they are partisan. Which means there are some people that are above the law. Which means that these youth are being responded to stimuli. That some people are pulling them somewhere that nobody can arrest you. Which means that we have a partisan security apparatus. Which means that because a sitting governor maybe is a member of opposition party, that is the reason why that the police have not been able to do their job. That what they are just going to do is to make sure that the judges are safe, and we just accord them to enter their vehicles, and to, after judges, then the lawyers will now be accorded some courtesy and walk them to their vehicle. If judges are seeing this kind of thing, are we sure that the judge is going to decide the case according to the evidence before them and according to the law of the land? The court has been intimidated, and no single, we see it in the scene. Nobody has been arrested, and we see them carrying cordials. We are seeing them carrying cordials, intimidating both judges and the lawyers. They are no witnesses, and the matter is not right for hearing.
Away from Ekiti now to Lagos, where the Speaker of the Lagos House of Assembly, Adeyebi Kuforiji, has described the dismissal of the 54-count charge of money laundering against him by the Federal High Court as a victory for democracy and justice. Kuforiji, who was overjoyed by the development, promised to rekindle his commitment in the service to Lagosians and the country.
This victory is not mine alone. It is our collective victory. It is a victory for democracy, a victory for the judiciary, a victory for the Lagos State House of Assembly, a victory for the Lagos State government. We have been vindicated. It is a victory for every journalist who stood on the side of the truth, even when they were being bombarded with lies. It is a victory for our party, the APC, and everyone who has stood solidly by me in the last 3 years. My very dear friends and colleagues, the struggle goes on. Our work is not done. While we savor this victory, we must remember that we still have a lot of work to do. This victory is a call to action. As the 2015 general election approaches, we must rally round to ensure victory for our party at all levels. Our politics should not divide us.
In a swift reaction to that, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, says it will appeal against Justice Ibrahim Buba's decision to discharge and acquit the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Adeyebi Kuforiji, and his aide, Oyebode Atoyebi. The judge had ruled that the prosecution failed to prove its case against the accused persons, but a dissatisfied EFCC says the judge erred in his ruling. It insists in a statement issued in Abuja that the proof of evidence attached to the charge clearly showed that the duo violated provisions of the Money Laundering Act in receiving various cash payments from the Assembly amounting to about 338.8 million naira. EFCC maintained that it will explore the option of appeal to bring the accused persons to justice. This is Lagos, and you're watching CoreTV News on the Hour. I'll be back after this break with more stories. Don't go away.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Welcome back. A youth group in northern Nigeria, the Arewa Youth Leaders, has resolved to back former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's quest to pick the presidential ticket of the All Progressives Congress. The youth leaders said they opt for Atiku based on his experience, integrity, and liberal disposition. The group also said in a communique issued after a meeting in Kaduna that the former vice president also stood out in the APC as a pure civilian with democratic credentials. It cited the role played by Atiku in leading the opposition against the third-term bid of former President Olusegun Obasanjo in 2007. The youths took a swipe at the People's Democratic Party for shutting the door on what they described as a credible alternative by endorsing the incumbent president for re-election. After months of consultations, former acting National Vice Chairman Southwest of the People's Democratic Party, Adedeji Doherty, has again declared interest in the Lagos 2015 governorship election. The declaration makes it his third attempt at the seat. Olajumoke Olatunji has more in this report.
The rank of governorship aspirants on the platform of the People's Democratic Party in Lagos has increased by one. A former acting national vice chairman southwest of the People's Democratic Party, Adedeji Dorothy, again confirmed his readiness to contest for the exalted seat.
I'm here to declare my intention to run for the exalted seat, the seat of the governor of Lagos State on the platform of the People's Democratic Party.
The party already boasts of other aspirants including Adedosumu, Jimmy Agbaje, Adetokunbo Purse, Babatunde Gbadamosi, Dominic Adegbola, Taiwo Kuye, Owolabi Salis, and the Minister of State for Defense, Musiliu Obanikoro. What exactly is standing him out of the park?
Our 10-point agenda: the empowerment of women, empowerment of youth, good transport, quality, free education. We have power, we have revisitation of our tax law to create a more vibrant economic Lagos State.
The PDP in Lagos is already fancying its chances of producing a replacement for incumbent Governor Babatunde Fashola. The party, and particularly Dorothy, has vowed to wrest power from the ruling All Progressives Congress in the state. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The Chibok community has commenced moves to identify the girl, Susan Ishaya, who was abandoned by Boko Haram and found wandering in Mubi on Wednesday. The chairman, Kibako Development Association, Pogo Beatrice, said he had directed the vice principal Government Secondary School Chibok to go to Yola, Adamawa State, and ask the girl about her origin and other issues surrounding her identity. Susan was discovered near a police station in Mubi, Adamawa State, after she was brought there by villagers who found her near Biu in Borno State. She was said to have been thrown out of a moving vehicle by her captors and was left to wander for 2 days before she was discovered by the villagers. Susan was said to be traumatized and sexually abused by the insurgents and was also found to be 4 months pregnant. The girl, who was being treated in a hospital in Yola, Adamawa State, was said to have been psychologically abused and could not properly identify herself and her origin. Brita said that there are doubts over the identity and origin of the girl, adding that the community was not convinced that she was from Chibok, as her name did not correspond with the names of the 219 schoolgirls. A federal high court in Abuja has set November 10 for the arraignment of Aminu Oguche, the alleged mastermind of the April 14 Yaya bomb attack. This was after initial plan to duck him and other suspects on Friday was stalled by a disagreement between the police and the Department of State Service. Presiding Judge Ademola Adeniyi explained that the long interval is to enable the two security agencies align their positions as well as conclude interrogation.
Well, this is a matter of national security that need not to be publicized.
It's in the court. It's in the public. The court is a public.
Yes, even in the courts, certain procedures have to be followed because of national security.
So what procedure would have to be followed for the accused to be brought before the court?
The accused will be brought on the next adjourned date.
Why was he not brought today?
I've already told the court why the accused is not in court. On the next adjourned date, the accused will be in court.
While residents of the Federal Capital Territory are hailing the recent successes recorded by troops in the ongoing war against insurgency, they're specifically glad that the man posing as the Boko Haram leader, Abubakar Shekau, was killed in one of the many battles for Kodunga. But they also want the military not to rest on the insurgents are flushed out until the insurgents are flushed out of northeast Nigeria.
For several months, he appeared in propaganda videos, posing in front of armored personnel carriers and surrounded by bodyguards. Now, the military says the man who claimed to be Abubakar Shekau is dead and have shown pictorial evidence. It took time for the news to sink in, but now FCT residents who were also threatened in one of the videos are hailing the troops for a job well done.
So we should also be watchful
you and I, we can help the security agencies to fight these injustices in the country. So people are jubilating here and they're saying Chokoro is dead, that's the end of terrorism. No, we should not relax and be sleeping. We should learn how to sleep one eye open and one eye closed for the betterment of our country, Nigeria.
You and I know that since the emergence of these insurgents, in Nigeria, our people, our fellow Nigerians, they have been dying. And if at this time or at this point, the security, they are telling us that Shakau has been captured and killed, it's a good news on our part. So we say kudos to the security outfit of this country.
But others, however, want appropriate authorities to show more concrete proof of Shekau's death.
I don't want to say yes for now because they have to prove it. If the man is dead, they have to prove it within the army circle. They are the people guiding us. There are people who send for an errand, go and stop this that is happening, that is making Nigerians restless, sleepless nights. We have to get confidence in the soldiers. But if they believe within them that yes, the man is dead, fine, they should prove it to Nigerians so that we have overconfidence and believe that yes, this matter is over.
Well, to me, I'm not just going to stand here and say Shakau is dead. Shakau has been dying for many times. We've remember the other time they said they've killed him. I don't want to say that he's not dead. But what I want the government to do, they should come out, and prove to us that this is really Shakau, the man they are really talking about. I think that will help us a lot. And the Nigerians will be more at ease because that man is a terror to our country.
Some other FCT residents want the military authorities not to dwell too much on its recent success. For this set of people, the war is still a long way from being over, even with Shekau's death.
Normally, when a commander dies off, another person has to take over. But I pray that these people will surrender their arms to the federal government. We are tired of this war, please. See our people at Medically. Since I was born, how many years ago, Borno State was one of the best states in Nigeria. I have never witnessed any religion or any other tribal crisis. Do you understand? I don't know what will be happening to Borno State by now. We are tired.
The consensus among Nigerians resident in Abuja is that security forces and other relevant authorities have to go the extra mile to root out the insurgents from the part of the country they presently occupied.
We'll take a break now and I'll be back with stories outside Nigeria. Don't go away.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emotan of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as weak, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
Welcome back. Hundreds of people gathered in Paris on Friday, answering a call by Muslim leaders to denounce the barbarism of Islamic State militants as flags across France flew at half-mast after the beheading of a French national. Imams and ordinary Muslims have rallied to condemn the execution of 55-year-old mountaineer Hervé Godel this week by militants in Algeria with ties to the ISIS jihadists as the country mourns the brutal murder. Leading Muslim figures also signed a message published in French newspapers Friday condemning atrocities committed in the name of a murderous ideology hiding behind the Islamic school of thought. The demonstration came as flags nationwide flew at half-mast to mourn Godel. The Mauritanian was kidnapped on Sunday by Algerian group Jand al-Khalifa shortly after a chilling call by its militants for Muslims to kill citizens from countries involved in a U.S.-led coalition fighting the extremists. The threat sparked concern in France, and authorities have since strengthened security in public places and on transport systems. And that wraps up this hour on CoreTV News. Join us again at the top of the hour for more stories. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thanks for being there.